welcome to the TechMediaWire Podcast powered by IBM. This original audio production delivers market and sector insights, as well as exclusive interviews with innovative executives shaping the future in fast-moving industries, and may feature a client partner of IBM or one of the 60-plus investor-focused brands within IBM's dynamic brand portfolio. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, IBM leverages its extensive distribution network, utilizing multiple proprietary corporate communication tools to introduce both public and private companies to a vast and diverse audience of investors, consumers, influencers, journalists, and other targeted segments of the public. IBM may have received compensation to produce this audio content. Please be sure to read IBM's entire disclaimers for full disclosures. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the next revelatory episode of IBM's TechMediaWire podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Tech Media Wire, brought to you by the Investor Brand Network. I'm your host, Stuart Smith. And once again, we've got a really smart and fresh play that we want to shine a spotlight on today. And that's going to be Grid AI Corp. I want you to go to their website, which is grid-ai.com. Of course, visit us here at the Investor Brand Network. Click on the Clients tab, scroll down, and there in alphabetical order, you will find a wonderful profile on this company with a link to that website, a link to all of their news and media presentations. We're going to be joined today in just a moment by Marshall Chapin. He's the Chief Executive Officer. If you bring up the NEWSWIRE for the company using that ticker symbol on the NASDAQ, GRDX, you'll see that they've made a key appointment recently, and you'll find some of the articles issued by the Investor Brand Network. Grid AI Technologies, as it says here in the profile and on their website in so many words, provides exposure to the convergence of artificial intelligence, energy infrastructure modernization, and large-scale electrification trends, which that's wonderful when AI and electrification comes into the same byline, because I'll tell you what, when we read our news, when we do our searches on these companies, what do we always see when we talk about AI? It's the pressure they may put on our infrastructure and our grid, and that's why the company's name, I assume, is Grid AI. Let's learn more from the CEO himself. Marshall, thanks so much for taking time to speak with me today.
Thanks, Stuart. It's great to be here.
Well, let's take that big step back from where I just put us, and let's get the foundation of who the company is straight from you. So let's talk about the business model, the markets you operate in, and let's talk about the history to date, if you will.
Yeah, happy to. So Grid AI is a software and optimization company focused on one of the most urgent bottlenecks in the AI revolution: power availability and efficiency for data centers. So AI is driving the largest infrastructure build out of our lifetime. It's a really exciting time to be in this space. Global data center investments will exceed $1 trillion by 2030. And yet in many markets, power, not land or chips, power is the limiting factor. That's where Grid AI plays. Our platform orchestrates energy across the entire data center campus. That includes grid, on-site generation, battery storage, renewables, flexible load to help data center operators get power faster, operate more reliably, and optimize cost and carbon at scale. So we operate a software-led recurring revenue model designed to scale alongside AI campus growth. And it's important to note, we're not a concept stage company. We're supporting customers in the market today, which gives us real world data and operational insight as we build out the next generation of our platform.
Well, very good. Thanks for that overview. Let's dive a little bit deeper into you as our guest today, as well as the leadership for the company, being the CEO for the company. Marshall, tell us a little bit about who you are, what brought you to this point, and then let's talk about who you've surrounded yourself with there at Grid AI.
Yeah, happy to. So before joining Grid AI, I spent decades building and commercializing energy and software platforms at scale. The longest portion of my career, my 32-year career, was at Enernoc, where I helped grow the company through rapid expansion as a go-to-market leader. We went public on the NASDAQ in 2007 and built the world's largest virtual power plant as the first global C&I demand response company. Yet that experience, leading cross-functional teams and translating complex energy dynamics into real-world solutions, that directly informs how we're approaching power challenges of the AI data centers today. So what makes Grid AI's leadership truly differentiated is the combination of experience and execution in the room. So after I joined as CEO to drive our strategy and product development, we also officially brought on Tim Healy as executive chairman. Tim's a longtime friend of mine and is best known as the co-founder and CEO of Enernoc. So Tim and I worked together at Enernoc for nearly a decade. We scaled the business to over 1,500 employees and more than 480 million in revenue. That shared history, I think, gives us a unique advantage. Tim brings strategic clarity and capital formation experience, and I bring deeper operational and go-to-market expertise. Together, we're well positioned to build and scale Grid AI, not just as a technology provider, but as a public company delivering solutions to real customers in a rapidly evolving market.
Yeah, that's the key right there. Boy, is it rapidly evolving. We're right on the heels of the NVIDIA earnings. We've seen so many things in this space be influenced by the Magnificent Seven, and it's not going to stop. And we hear about AI bubble, but again, we're nowhere near that. I mean, some of that really kind of is off-putting to the novice investor because they're trying with clickbait to grab the headlines. But your company and your history, and by the way, viewers and listeners, go back to February 4th to learn about the appointment of Tim Healy. You can do a deep dive on that news using that ticker symbol again, GRDX. But, and we'll get into, Marshall, we'll get into your own take on the industry itself as we go a little further in this interview. But, so far here in 2025, and we're only a couple of months, 2026, we're only a couple of months in, but the company really seemed to have a strong finish to 2025. Can we go back a little bit and look at some of the milestones as you see them, as your company's been able to achieve in, let's say, the past couple of quarters?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2025 for us was about foundation and validation. We advanced our core platform capabilities, expanded work with existing customers, and importantly, proved that Grid AI's orchestration approach works in real operating environments, not just in theory. We also strengthened the company structurally. We aligned the business around the AI data center opportunity and prepared it for public market visibility and scale. But just as importantly, 2025 validated the market timing. I mean, power constraints moved from being a future concern to a current gating issue for AI deployments. That shift reinforced that Grid AI is working on the right problem at the right time.
Boy, no truer words have ever been spoken. I mean, you can probably tell I'm a heavy investor in the space, and your timing was impeccable. So, with the foundation, with the current climate within the industry, what are some of the things that you would like to share with the audience and potential investors that Grid AI is working on currently?
So for 2026, it's really about scaling with discipline. Operationally, our goals are to expand customer deployments, particularly tied to AI and high-density data center environments. That's number one. Continue advancing our software platform, especially around forecasting, optimization, and automation. And third, convert operational learnings into those repeatable, scalable offerings that drive recurring revenue. That's how we think about things. Customer deployments, advance the software, and then turn those learnings into repeatable revenue. I mean, look, the broader industry backdrop is incredibly strong, as you noted, right? It's exciting. Data center capacity is projected to double globally by the end of the decade. And electricity demand from AI workloads is rising rapidly. And we're positioning Grid AI as the trusted orchestration layer that operators can help them navigate that complexity more efficiently.
So within your primary vertical, then you're sort of agnostic to the companies that you would be working with. Then you'd work with anyone who has the necessity to get their energy load down and more efficient. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're company agnostic. We're actually equipment agnostic. We can work with any player, any layout within a data center campus. We're super flexible in our solution. Our ability is to take, actually, the more complicated the data center site, the better it is for us, because we're taking our software application and our controls layer and using that to simplify the site to make good decisions for that data center operator. That's where the sort of magic sweet spot lies. is to
The
be able to take.
convergence, as it says on your website right there. You're in that convergent space. So, well, let's talk about the industry. You're immersed in it. I love to pick the brain of somebody like yourself because you were involved here prior to all the headlines. Let's put it that way. You saw the writing on the wall. Let's talk just a little bit about what you see. What if you had, nobody has a crystal ball, but if you were reading the tea leaves, if you will, for 26, 27, 28, what are we looking at here? I mean, again, there's a lot of clickbait out there to try to grab people's attention. What do you see as the future within your space?
Yes, so as you note, it is evolving rapidly. I think the most important development within the last year, both for Grid AI and for the broader market, is the recognition that power has become the critical path item for AI infrastructure. Um, so across the industry, AI campuses are being delayed or redesigned because grid timelines can't keep the pace with compute deployment. That's a really big change. And that reality, by the way, was reinforced in the State of the Union by the federal initiative aimed at protecting consumers from electricity rate increases by encouraging hyperscalers to bring their own power and
Mm-hmm.
avoid shifting infrastructure costs onto ratepayers. And the implication of that is clear. The future AI data centers will be increasingly relying on site, privately financed, and dynamically managed power systems. That's the big change. That shift places Grid AI directly at the center of the emerging model. If hyperscalers have to supply and optimize their own energy, in, uh, integrating generation, storage, flexible load, grid participation, orchestration of those things becomes mission critical. Grid AI's platform is designed specifically to manage those complex power campuses, ensuring reliability, economic optimization, and responsible interaction with the grid. That's the other big thing is people are recognizing, the world is recognizing that these big AI data centers need to be good corporate citizens going forward. So look, and on the company side, investors, I think, should focus for us on our continued customer engagement, progress of the platform, and the fact that Grid AI provides a rare public market exposure to what's rapidly becoming the defining infrastructure layer for Grid AI. As adoption increases and accelerates, speed to power and intelligent energy orchestration are moving from an operational consideration to a real strategic differentiator, and that's where we sit.
Mm. I love it. You actually, I was going to offer you a soapbox moment to close out this interview, but you just nailed it right there. So let's do a little bit of a recap, though. So
Sure.
investors, once again, we're speaking with the Chief Executive Officer of Grid AI, traded on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol GRDX. Go to their website, grid-ai.com. Of course, visit us here at the Investor Brand Network. I have the investment highlights in front of me. So many things. In fact, right there, just closing out the last bullet point, public market access through NASDAQ listing supports capital formation, visibility, potential strategic partnerships, and deployment at scale, excuse me. So many of the things that we've touched on with Marshall today are available in that Investor Brand write-up. Investor Brand Network write-up. So Marshall, just in closing, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with, whether it's your existing shareholders, potential shareholders, or potential customers?
Yeah, just again, that this is such an exciting time to be in. I think people to be in this space. I don't think people quite realize how fast the underlying pieces are moving, and infrastructure's not historically been built to catch up with fast change. The U.S. electric grid is not a fast evolving thing,
Mm.
and so if we're going to evolve and enable the U.S. and North America more broadly to compete, we have to optimize things from a software level and empower the data center operators who are bringing their own power to be effective right now, because the opportunity is right now. It's right in front of us. So I mean, truly, I don't know what the future will hold. No one really does. But I love the fact that we are this intelligence layer that sits inside and is helping these different pieces of the puzzle grow, enabling the grid to get what they need, enabling the hyperscale data center to get what they need, and making sure that we do it in a way that doesn't negatively impact the average ratepayer. So we're very happy about where we are inside the space right now, and super excited about what the future holds.
a key player within this space, a key niche within this space, absolutely. This is the time you need to add this ticker symbol GRDX to your watch list. Do your due diligence. Understand that no matter what industry we've talked about, it's the people within the industry, the companies that serve specific needs of, for example, when we used to talk about so much about mining, we were talking about actually the people that were putting together the immersion to cool it, and different companies that are able to excel without the peaks and the valleys of, let's say, an NVIDIA and Intel and AMD, which we're going to watch those peaks and valleys very closely as we see today. You beat estimates with a stick and your stock is down 5% the next day. That's the world of AI, because we do have these fears. But companies like yours, Marshall, actually should soothe those fears by able to say, hey, we're forward thinking, we're ahead of the game, we're looking next year already for what are the needs going to be, how are we going to effectively meet those needs as a company. So wonderful speaking with you for the first time, Marshall. Thanks again for your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. For Marshall Chapin, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for tuning into the Tech Media Wire.
The TechMediaWire Podcast is an original content production powered by IBN, a multifaceted financial news and publishing company that delivers next-generation corporate communication solutions. Utilizing proprietary corporate communication tools such as news aggregation and syndication, social communication, and brand awareness techniques, among others, IBN introduces both public and private companies to diverse audiences to enhance reach and recognition. IBN may receive compensation for services and solutions provided to its client partners. You should assume that the owners, officers, and directors of IBN or financial analysts mentioned in this production may hold a position in and may intend to trade the securities in their own accounts. This production is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell any securities that may be mentioned in this production. The information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be or should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured companies carries inherent investment risk. Listeners should review the companies thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This production by IBN is not purported to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used in statements of fact have been obtained from featured companies and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by IBN as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see IBN's full disclaimers and disclosures at www.ibn.fm/disclaimer. Music in this episode is by Infraction. For more, visit inaudio.org.